Okay. Hi, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome to this town hall. This is our 44th town hall. Let's get started. Okay. Hi, everyone. Happy Okay, sorry, 1 second. I'm having computer issues. Close this. The fuck is my screen? Cool, we're back. All right. Pops update. I'll be sending out an offsite follow-up just for some feedback. So everybody, please, it was in the newsletter last week, but I believe some people had issues. So feel free to check it out when you get a chance. JB and Carrie, any updates?
I think JB was having issues with the link. So I'll just talk quickly about the kudos. We wanted to put the leaderboard top 5 here just to kind of recognize everyone. The leaderboard's pretty hidden in the DApp, so maybe you haven't seen it, but check it out. And yeah, just it was really cool to see people getting so many different like praises and kudos. So just a massive shout out to the people there. We've got Eric, Jacob, Andre, Johnny, and Hester. And JB, assuming you're not here, but quickly on the hiring, we've got a bunch of hiring going on. Like here's a list of the roles. Like ever, if you know anyone, just let us know. There's a referral bonus available. And if you have any questions, each of those posts should have like its own discuss thread where you can take a look and then ask questions or weigh in on the process. Yeah, and that's it.
Cool, thanks, Carrie. All right, next we have a janitor's update from Rachel. Hey, Rich.
Hey, yeah, so I'm really just going to give a core update underneath the janitor's update because this is all about V1. So in the weeks before Istanbul, we managed to get out our iOS hotfix, which announces some of the breaking changes that will be happening with version 1. And you can read about those in the blog post if you haven't already. But the top line is for our users, make sure that you have your 12-word seed phrase ready to go to recover when version 1 comes out, because otherwise you could lose access to that particular status wallet on your device and the funds within if you haven't already used it in other wallets. So there's that. As for progress towards the actual V1 release, it's really coming along. Also before Istanbul, the guys fixed the massive 64-bit issue we've been dealing with on Android. It was connected to our upgrade to React Native version 0.60 and the new Hermes engine. So huge kudos to Pedro and the rest of the team for finally merging that. The status Go and status protocol Go issues that we had open for V1 audit are complete. So are all of the security issues reported in our private repo. I believe Andre and Andrea tackled those before Istanbul happened as well. We do have one last open issue that I believe is just on status React side, and that's biometric login. This was something that was a bit of a Hail Mary that we decided to try to fit in before this code freeze, which is meant to happen today on the 30th of September. Is that today? Yep. So we have a call with Corey coming up later to discuss part of this implementation to see if we can actually fit that into the Trail of Bits audit for status React. And if so, we might be able to deliver one additional feature that users have been requesting for a very long time. Otherwise, in the next few weeks, I'll be putting a timeline together for the V1 release. Again, audit is meant to kick off today, starting on status Go. And it's meant to take about 3 weeks, I believe. Corey can probably give us another update there later on, but I'll be putting together a timeline for the release itself as the team has just finished estimates towards our V1 backlog. The backlog is mostly a long list of bugs. You can find it on GitHub if you just look at the V1 release label, but I've also linked a high-level overview of the the changes that we need to make still for the release. There are a few features and builds on new features that we need to complete before we can release version 1. So one of those things is ENS verification and the ability to change your Whisper ID with ENS, which Eric and Pedro are both working on. So yeah, stay tuned and discuss in the coming weeks. I'll share like a very rough timeline of when the actual release will be targeted. So I think that's it.
Cool, thanks. Awesome, Rachel. All right, next we have security and infra. Jakob?
Yeah, it's going to be me since Corey is away right now.
Cool.
So the main security update right now is, of course, the security audit that starts today, together with the code freeze done by 12 bits. And this security audit will be focusing mostly on the core components of the application, so the protocol and how we store information about the users and what is shared through the protocol. And we'll be getting weekly updates so we can, on the fly, fix whatever issues pop up. And you can read more about that on the Discuss post. So that's all about security. And in terms of infrastructure, for example, the cool thing that happened recently is now we have bridging between status chats and Gitter and Discord. There are other ones coming soon, probably Telegram, which I'm setting up right now. It's not all chats, it's only ones that I've configured, but it's most of the ones that we use currently by most of the developers. So that's up already, and it still needs improvement, but it's getting there. We also have some cool things in terms of analytics. So we have Fathom Analytics for our main site, which is this open source analytics solution that does a lot of hashing and salting of the data. So it fully respects the privacy of our users. So we only collect quantity information and nothing about the individual users. We also have SourceCred, which collects information about the contributors and how much work they put in different repos. And that's going to expand as I add more organizations and private repos and so on. We're going to already check it out at the URL there. We also tested out a self-hosted Bitwarden for secrets, but decided against that. And there's also a lot of work going on in terms of builds for status React coming after the release. So, for example, we'll have per architecture APKs, which will reduce the size to about 20 megabytes instead of more of a 40 megabyte size. So that's nice for users. And we're also getting ready, because of great work by Voldemir, to get new builds for Status Desktop. So that's pretty amazing. And there's been also a bunch of other fixes about our website in preparation for what I believe Johnny is working on in regards to, I think, extensions, if I remember correctly. So there's been a bit of a revamp on the documentation side and the status side. That's about it.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Jakob. Now we're going to jump to Guy Louis for a keycard update.
Yes. Quick updates about keycard. First, on the V1 front, what we're currently doing is fighting the bugs for V1. And I really wanted to give a huge kudos to, especially to Chu, Dimitri, and Sergey that are doing amazing work in this testing and solving all the things that popped up. Also, I wanted to mention that we had 2 winners at the virtual Gitcoin hackathon. I wrote GitHub here, but that's Gitcoin hackathon. That was quite interesting. We got one developer, Bakao, that developed a keycard emulator tool that basically allows to emulate a keycard. So that really facilitates getting going with keycard and developing with it, because you don't need a keycard to start your project. And also we had a Ligi that did further integration of keycard within Wadeth. And another point I wanted to update on, as it was outlined by Jared in Istanbul, one of the main things we are going to be working on in the next month is setting up a payment network. So what does that mean at a super high level for now? So this payment network, we want to choose and use the right scalable layer 2 technology to for the transactions and states or contracts management. We want this payment network to fulfill all Teller network needs. And this payment network, in this payment network, keycard is going to be integrated, which means that it's going to be easy to onboard for a merchant keycard tap payments. And for this, we are going to allow status to be an easy to set up point of sale. And we'll have some fraud limitation built-in mechanisms. That's a super high level view of what we want to achieve. We're starting discussions about this. There's a Discord channel to discuss this. Everyone's ideas and help about this is going to be very helpful. And that's it for keycard.
Okay, thanks, Gui. Okay, that is actually all of our updates for today. Just a quick town hall for you guys. We do have one QA that was submitted through town hall questions on status. So the question was, what is Status's plan after V1 launch? Does anybody want to take a quick stab at this answer?
It's a big question.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say that as well.
Yeah, so we have a lot of plans, obviously, beyond just the core product. I can speak to the core product if that's helpful. So with regards to the core product alone, just the status application, on October 15th, we're going to be having a road mapping session where we discuss what our priorities are in Q4 and Q1 of 2020. We are currently working to set up like a simple analytics dashboard where we can begin to start looking at the actual usage that we're seeing on Whisper by tracking unique PRIDs, and we can begin to then use that as sort of a baseline for our user base and begin to measure engagement with the application. Our main focus is going to be improving the chat experience, though. If I had to give you a top line today, that's probably where our efforts will be. And you can follow along and discuss. We will have the planning meeting will be all the documentation artifacts from that will be publicized.
Cool, thanks.
Just to be more specific about some plans, just for example, most of the things that we are launching on V1 are very, how I would say, bare bones. For example, the sticker market is it's just people can only buy; they cannot register new stickers there. So after the V1, we are working on, for example, in this sticker market for the artists. The same thing about the Tribute to Talk. So it's the first version is just a simple spam protection. So if after the V1 we want to make it that there is more tools there for people to use on Tribute to Talk that are in the white paper, for example, for people selling services like consultants and so on. So just two examples, but these would be to everything that we are building, the accounting system, the multi-account. So in future, we are also going to support more advanced account systems, the identity systems that currently are being used by other dApps. For example, the origin protocols have a very cool identity system that is using some standards in the ERC. So that's also something we want to do to after the V1. So it's a lot of development to continue. That would be the continuance of what we are testing right now.
Cool, thanks, Ricardo. Anybody else want to jump in here? All right, cool. So I'm just going to quickly, that was more for like a public Q&A. I'm going to stop our live stream and we can have more of like an internal QA. So thanks everybody who submitted them publicly. Everyone just quickly stay here for 1 second.